Hi, we're Evan and Jasmine. Our first 6 years of marriage consisted of traveling the world. Then in 2019, we got pregnant and were blessed with a baby boy. Our son is diagnosed with Agenesis of the Corpus Callosum, which means he's developmentally delayed and is taking the Scenic Route when it comes to meeting his milestones. Follow us as we continue to take the Scenic Route with our special needs child. So for today's video, we want to talk about kind of like the lifestyle that we've kind of, we've been traveling a lot. I feel like a lot of people often ask us like how we can afford to travel for as long as we do and as frequently as we do. And I thought that those are really good questions, just because we haven't really shared much of our journey of like how we've gotten here and how we came to this decision of having this lifestyle and really like living life by design. And this video is like for us to talk about what exactly that means for us and share our journey with you guys and kind of talk through how it's possible for anyone.
So I would say that this didn't happen by accident, but I would say it did happen by chance. I remember very vividly our conversation in 2014 in a Starbucks in Wilsonville, Oregon. Jasmine said, what if I did hair and makeup in Maui and tried that out? And she had her hair and makeup business in Portland then, and the more we talked about it, we're like, yeah, we could do that. Her business is seasonal in Portland, and we were just kind of thinking, well, why don't we try and go live in Maui for 6 months in the winter and just give it a try. And from that conversation catapulted this crazy last basically 9-10 years of our lives, honestly. That conversation turned into reality. We sold everything that we had. We moved out of our apartment in Wilsonville and we rented a place in Maui, Hawaii for 6 months in 2014. And honestly, it was the coolest thing that we've ever done.
So before we even had the Maui conversation, we were actually looking to buy a house in Wilsonville, Oregon. And, it was, 2 years into our marriage, and that's the next thing you do, right? So you buy a house as a married couple. And we didn't get approved. I was working at a salon and I was making a little bit more than minimum wage, and then doing Blossom Beauty and my business on the side. And we didn't get approved, and I remember that was kind of like a really big punch to the gut, and because we were looking forward to it and eventually starting a family, et cetera. And something just changed. We pivoted from that decision that was kind of chosen for us, and I just decided let's do something different then. Maybe this isn't what we're supposed to be doing, is buying a house and living the linear kind of checklist and lifestyle,
And I would say to that, as a side note, if something happens to you in life that you think is monumentally crushing, it's how you adapt and change to that thing that happened to you that could dramatically change the outcome of the rest of your life. And we honestly took that big blow as, okay, that sucks, but what else can we do because of that? And because of not owning a house, we didn't have the mortgage payment, and we had the freedom to make a different decision in our lives that honestly changed everything.
Yeah, and then from there, I definitely we pivoted together, and I was just reevaluating everything and looking at our lives, and I was like, you know what? I'm kind of done with Oregon winters. I want to do something different, And so I had seen a few other fellow hair and makeup artists who were getting booked in Hawaii, and I was working this minimum wage job, not making much money. I remember talking to Evan at Starbucks in Wilsonville, and I was like, let's go live in Hawaii for 6 months. Let's do it. Let's put away as much money as we possibly can to really help us out, so we're not stressed about money when we're there and stressed about work once we're there. And that got the ball rolling. Evan shockingly was like, okay, and we sold everything that we had We
And
put
so, okay, so let me just say something about this. So our move to Maui was in our humble beginnings. We had no money. Let me rephrase that. We had
No
zero
money.
money. We had a minimum wage job. I had a small business that did okay, but not great. And Jasmine said we decided we wanted to save money. We saved money. We saved almost $10,000
Just to get
over the
there.
next 8 months to get there. And that was huge. That really helped us get to Maui and be there comfortably. Our rent there was $1,800 a month, which was really expensive for us, and probably for anybody, you know. But
That
we,
was the most we've ever paid in rent.
yeah, but we had the money because we saved it.
Yeah, and so I feel like when people do say, oh, it's so expensive, I can't afford to do that. You can do it. Absolutely.
We had no money. Let me
Yeah,
rephrase that.
and
We
we
had
did
zero money, and we did it.
Yeah.
And that hasn't been the case since. We've gotten better.
At managing money and saving.
Yeah, and Jasmine's business has grown, and that's afforded us to do even more adventurous things and be more flexible with our locations and time.
And from there is when it kind of changed the rest of our lives. Like, I remember being on the rooftop having pineapple hot dogs, and we were talking about what do we do next? Where do we go? 1 second. I know you're tired, my love. I know you're tired. I know. Okay.
And honestly, I feel like that's one thing that traveling and taking a huge risk does, is it makes you excited and you want to have conversations about what the next adventure is. And we came up with this saying, skip the winter in Oregon. And we have stuck to that for the past, how many years? Since 2014, it is now
6
2021. That is 7 winters in Oregon we have officially skipped. And oh man, the memories we have is insane. And we'll share some of the video clips of skipping the winter in Oregon. I think that's the name of this video, skipping the winter in Oregon.
So how is this all possible? Like, how have we gone 7 winters and skipping the winters in Oregon and living abroad, usually like every winter, like in another country? And yeah.
A couple keys. So for us, we were not very good at it at first. We moved back to Portland, we scrambled, we found a place to live. We got a car again because we didn't have a car, and we just made it through the summer and kind of figured it out. But what we came to realize was, obviously, the less stuff that we ended up purchasing during that 6 months, the less stuff we either had to get rid of or store or do anything. So over the last 7 years, we have truly learned to become minimalist to the truest extent, because we own very, very little. We have no storage unit. We do have a few possessions at my parents' house, and that's it. We do not have a car back in Oregon right now. And I'll tell you a little bit about the cycle. So one of the most important things is where you're gonna live. But when you live somewhere, you have to fill it with stuff, right? You have to have a couch, a bed, et cetera, et cetera. We have basically lived in an Airbnb or some form of that over the last 6-7 years. I often contact the host on Airbnb outside of Airbnb to try and muster up a deal so that we can live there for 3 or 4 or 6 months, and we kind of divide it between places. And what that allows us to do is not buy those things. We don't have to buy kitchen supplies. We don't have to buy a bed, a couch, a TV.
And the move-in process is easy.
Oh
You
man,
just show
you bring your
up
clothes.
and bring, just your personal items, like very minimalistic.
And it's been cool. We've gotten to live in so many different neighborhoods in Portland, and this last year we got to live with my parents, which was awesome. We got to bring Elán home from the hospital to my parents' house, and that's where I was born and raised. And so it was just very because we didn't have our own house of our own, we had to make adjustments, and that was the adjustment we chose last year. But all the other years, we've done Airbnb furnished apartment kind of styles. And same thing with the car. You have to have transportation. For transportation, we typically buy and sell a car every year, or every 2 years sometimes. Sometimes if it's a good car and we're only gonna be gone for 60 days or 90 days, we'll come back and we'll use that same car for another cycle. But we sell it again. And a couple other things that does, we typically buy a used car, and we typically never have maintenance on our cars because we use it for about 6 months, sometimes a year and a half. And then we sell that car, and that's not enough time for a car to break down. So that saved a lot of money too. And then when we're gone, we don't have a car payment, we don't have a car insurance payment. And so we kind of count that as money we can use on our vacation, because we would have that expense if we were back home.
Yeah, like for instance, even right now we're in Mexico, and yeah, we don't have a car payment. We're not paying for car insurance. The only thing we're really paying for is just like our rent here.
Yeah.
What other costs that we were talking about the other day that we don't have, that we just eliminated? Or Amazon. How we were back in Portland and we would spend so much money on Amazon.
If you go live abroad, you will save so much money because you do not have access to Amazon and other online shopping.
And you truly just start buying things that you need instead of want. Like even when we go live in Costa Rica, we don't have accessibility to a lot of things. So we don't buy a lot of things, you know?
Yeah.
We learn to live without it and just enjoy, you know, just the more simple things in life.
So I really hope this video is explanatory. I hope it's not braggy. We're really not trying to say, oh, we skipped the winters and we're so much better because of it. There's a lot of sacrifices that we make to live this type of life. We've now added a baby who has special needs and special medical needs. We've added a dog, which is chewing on a bone right next to me.
You could probably hear it the entire video.
And so we've added more complications to our life, and we're still doing what we have been doing for 7 years. We love our lifestyle. Yes, it is a struggle sometimes, and you do want to pull your hair out when you're abroad in a foreign country. You don't have things that you're used to. You don't feel quite at home sometimes, and you're just frustrated. And yeah, you do fantasize. You're like, okay, I wish we just had a house with everything in it and we were just there right now watching Netflix. But then you go walk on the beach or do something amazing and you're like, okay, yeah, no, I'm glad we're here.
Yeah, and another thing I think that's been hard for me sometimes is, you know, we're living out of a suitcase essentially and bouncing from Airbnbs, you know, all over. And you kind of crave that sense of home. You know, we don't have pictures of us, you know, on the walls or things that you choose to buy that are like your taste. But then like what you said, like then you go and you spend a day on the beach and you're just like, oh yeah, I don't really care.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, I feel like I get like that every once in a while.
Yeah, it can be a struggle back and forth. And, you know, if this video does anything, we do hope it motivates you, not necessarily to choose our exact lifestyle, but if there is something that's out there that you're craving and that you're missing, just know that you can do whatever you want to do with very little to no money, with some money, or a lot of money. And it's up to you. You can design your life. You can get a job that's work from home or online only. You can choose that. You can sell your house or rent your house to somebody else and go live somewhere for a year. We have some really close friends, and I hope we inspired them a little bit, but you know, I can't say for sure that we did, but we're so proud of them right now because they sold a really nice house that they had in Oregon. They moved in with his parents. It's a wife and a kid, or husband and wife, 2 kids, and they now have their jobs fully set up online. Even though they have corporate jobs, they're online.
Well, due to the pandemic.
So they saw an opportunity, and they chose to design their lives, and they are now in Puerto Rico, and they've been there for the last 2 months. And I'm just so proud of them because that's exactly, when we see that, we're like, yes, they're living life the right way. And I know it probably hasn't been perfect and it probably hasn't been easy for them, but they are never going to regret going and living and working in Puerto Rico.
And when you make decisions like that are a little bit more risky, like it reshapes you. And it's like how you feel, like how you want to live your life.
Yeah. You grow so much from traveling, and especially when you travel in that way. When you go on vacation for a week somewhere, you don't necessarily grow in the sense that like you learn from the culture, you learn from the place that you're at. But if you're able to go for 30, 60, 90 days to different places, it really allows you to settle in
absorb different cultures,
and absorb so many
people,
different
yeah.
experiences. And I know that that's what our friends are going to gain from Puerto Rico. We're gaining that already from Mexico. We're gaining this new appreciation for Mexico that we've never had, and we guaranteed would not have had that if we stayed in a hotel in Cancun for 4 days and went right back home. So I hope this video is just informative, maybe a little bit inspirational for you to want to do something different that you've been putting off. But it's not a brag. This is just a life that we have chosen. We love it. It's hard sometimes. But yeah, I mean, we just wanted to talk about how we've been skipping the winters for the last 7 years.
Yeah, and you can do it.
So we hope you guys enjoyed. We will see you next time.
Bye. Dile adios. Adios.
Oh yeah, we should do the whole video in Spanish now.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
Take 2.
Okay. La primera cosa le que le queda su aceite.